Hey guys, hey guys, don't you trust me? That's a great way to start 10 with Tom. Hey guys, well, welcome to another episode of 10 with Tom. This is episode 32. Can you believe it? My name is Tom, and this is where we get to explore faith 10 minutes at a time. Today, I want to talk about the art of reverse engineering. So during World War II, fighter planes would come back from battle with all sorts of bullet holes in their wings and in the bodies of the planes. And the Allies found that the areas that were most commonly hit by enemy fire, I'm going to put a picture up so you can see those areas. Now, initially, what's interesting, the Allies sought to strengthen the Allies sought to strengthen the most commonly damaged parts of the plane to reduce the number that were shot down and obviously increase combat survivability. That makes sense, right? Except they were wrong. There was a mathematician by the name of Abraham Wald, and he pointed out, he says, perhaps there's another way to look at the data. Perhaps the reason that certain areas of the plane weren't covered in bullet holes, as you can see on the picture, was that the planes that were shot in those areas did not in fact return. And so he was absolutely right. And this insight led to the armor being reinforced, not where we see all the bullet holes in the picture, but rather on the parts of the plane where there were no bullet holes, because those are the planes that were getting shot down and not coming back, namely the nose and the engines. And the strategy worked. Now, this is just an interesting story, and this bullet hole problem has actually now got a name. It's called survivorship bias. And it actually shows up in a lot of unexpected areas in our lives. And in order to figure it out, we have to do some, as that mathematician did, we have to do some reverse engineering. In other words, we have to flip the problem on its head or start with the end in mind, in the words of Stephen Covey, and then work backwards to get to the desired results. Now, what has this got to do with you? What has this got to do with me? Well, let me give you some examples of how this shows up in our lives. I was listening to a Kerry Niehoff podcast the other day. I love his podcast. And he was interviewing this guy, Remy, and he's a kind of a money guy. He wrote a book called I Will Teach You How to Be Rich, and not a Christian or whatever, but he just has some incredible insight into money and the psychology of money that he writes in his book. And he talks about how so often the only thing we know about good stewardship of money is save, or this is what you shouldn't do, this is what you can't buy. And it's not really on what you want to do with your life. He talks about this question. The first question he asks people is, what is your rich life? In other words, why do you want to have money? Why do you want to have margin? And the reality is many people can't say, which is kind of insane because we spend so much of our time chasing after money, but we don't necessarily know what we do when we get it. Now you say, well, that's not my problem, Tom. I know exactly what I do when I get it. I get that. But, why do you, people say, well, I want to go on holiday, or I want to travel, I want to get out of debt. Yes, but why? Well, so that I can have freedom. Yeah, but freedom for what? And when you actually start to ask this question and dream about what that life may look like, then it gives you a sense of purpose. And it gives you a sense of, hey, this is why I'm getting out of debt. This is why I'm putting that money away. It's not just to get the credit card debt down, but no, it's because I want to live with a sense of freedom. I want to be able to, learn Spanish or go on holiday or whatever it is. I don't know why I said learn Spanish. That's a super random example. Anyway, I think it's because one he used. But also what it does, I love this, he says it stops you as a couple arguing about 30 Rand decisions and instead gets you to focus on 30,000 Rand decisions. And I think that's really, really important. I know Jess and I, when we fight about money, and it's like, hey, I see you, ordered another coffee, And the reality is, I get a little ping every time her credit card swipes. Oh, okay. I know exactly where you spent that. And the reality is, we're not, our money problems are not going to be solved just by cutting back on 10 coffees. Actually, it's going to be solved by where we choose to invest, about the house we live in. Do we have an extra car or not? It's or one car, two cars. Those are the actual big decisions that make the biggest difference. But so often we get focused on the wrong things. Just like those in the World War II scenario, we get focused on where the bullets are in the wrong place. We're in the series called Proverb Life, and we're wrapping it up. And one of the key texts of the series has been Proverbs 27 verse 12, which says, the prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. The prudent see danger, they take refuge. In other words, prudent people, they're wise people, and they embrace the reality that, one thing leads to another, and they decide their lives accordingly. While the unwise, the immature, the simple, well, it says they keep going and they pay the penalty. So this is about looking ahead, seeing where things are going, realizing that the decisions we make today have knock-on effects and they move us somewhere. It's not intention, it's direction that determines our destiny. And so they start acting with the end in mind. They start looking ahead. They start reverse engineering things. One of my other favorite quotes from Proverbs is, I think it's Proverbs, I need to look at what proverb it is. No, that's cool. It's Proverbs 21 verse 5. And it says, good planning and hard work lead to prosperity, but hasty shortcuts lead to poverty. And I think that's been one of my favorite verses, my life verses. And so this is about what I'm talking about today when we speak of reverse engineering. What I'm really speaking about is having a vision for your life, and then making a plan and working backwards and figuring out what I need to do today in order to get to where I want to be. And so we need to reverse engineer in our life. Here's a question. What's the problem or problems you've been dealing with or struggling with? Perhaps repeating patterns in your life or your relationships. I mean, Jess and I always joke. We've been married for 17 years and it seems like we fight about the same 3 things. But what needs to be reverse engineered? Maybe it's your health. Instead of dieting, because dieting is all about what you can't eat, what you shouldn't do. Hey, why not write down why you want to be healthy? What are your goals? Maybe set up a race or a target. Maybe, or what do you like eating? And then incorporate those things into your, what healthy things do you actually enjoy to eat? And reverse engineer it. There's a church in the States that I follow, and they've doing this challenge. I've done this challenge for August, where they're asking everyone in the congregation to do 3 things, and that's walk 10,000 steps a day, give the first 15 minutes of your day to God in prayer, and then invite one person to church. And I just thought it was a great way of kind of reverse engineering things. Maybe when it comes to your relationships, maybe you have been complaining about all the things wrong with the other person. And maybe you've been doing that for years and years and years, and you've built a neural pathway. I'm laughing, Kerry. But that's like looking at the bullets of the plane and reinforcing the wrong parts. Why not flip it? Why not write down 10 things you love about the other person? Even better, why not take them for dinner and tell them? And instead of trying to make the other person better or trying to change them, remind yourself every day of why you fell in love with them or what you love about them, and work on making yourself better. Do you see what I'm saying? This is what reverse engineering is about. Let me give you one more example. How about our country? I mean, there's so much. Every conversation it seems I have these days around a braai or a church, it's doubt and pessimism and negativity, and I get it. And the temptation for me to go there is strong. But at the same time, we also live in the most insanely beautiful, diverse, creative, and unique place in the world. It's easy to complain. And maybe if we actually complained less and actually went out there to help and serve others, we'd actually see some of the change that we so long for. Who knows? And even if we don't affect change, it's just a better way to live. Again, these are just a few examples of what it means to reverse engineer, to look at the problems from a different angle, to start with the end in mind, and to reclaim the vision and the dreams that God has put in your life for your finances, for your health, for your relationships, for your spirituality and your faith. And maybe there's more, and maybe you need to pray and ask God, hey, reveal to me what are some of the problems that I need to reverse engineer, some of the challenges or ways of thinking that I need to flip and look at it from a different angle. Maybe someone else, a friend or a trusted person can help you to see things from a different angle. Guys, I say this all the time. I said it on Sunday, and I don't think I'm ever going to stop saying it. God wants more for your life. There is more in you, there's more for you, and there's more around you than you can even imagine. And here's the truth. Everybody ends up somewhere in life, right? All I'm asking is that you decide to live and end up somewhere on purpose instead of by accident. And I think reverse engineering is a great way to start. Thanks so much for joining us for another episode of 10 with Tom. We'll see you next time. Have a good day. That was a weird ending.
Signing out.
Have a good day. I haven't got my endings right. I'm Ron Burgundy.
There was a question mark.
Have a nice day. Bye.
Did you want the truck again?